Windows 11. Just moving on to our next topic now. Now I've used it a bit, and I'm struggling. Like, there's a whole maybe a whole other discussion around where's the direction, because obviously, like, this to me just seems like Windows 11 was just a marketing thing to get Microsoft interested again, and people interested in buying new PCs again. Yeah, okay, maybe there's an argument for advancing the operating system or whatever, but from what I understand, it's not actually that much different to Windows 10 in so many ways, because the underlying code base is still kind of the same. But now there's this, a lot of people were upset with the taskbar because a lot of traditional functionality was removed, and the Microsoft is slowly been putting it back in. And the big one I thought was they're now looking at putting the labels back into the taskbar if you want to actually reactivate that option. So at the moment, it's just the app icon is highlighted if it's open. But with this upcoming change, it'll be reminiscent of Windows of old, where it expands more and you get like a bit of a label of the name of the app or the file name or whatever. And and honestly, as a Mac user, I actually think that's actually a very useful option, because that's not something that's available on Mac OS. I actually think it's one of Windows's better like sort of features, where the taskbar is a lot more functional than the Mac OS dock. So it just seemed a bit odd that they didn't include that out of the gate. I figured it wouldn't have been that hard for them to include it on launch, but 2 years later or whatever, they're finally getting around to it.
Well, you wonder how they make a lot of these decisions in general. I mean, we went from square apps to round apps to square apps with rounded corners. And I think, this is just Microsoft taking us on the same process with Windows. I certainly think that taskbars are sort of one area that could be radically revamped in the modern age to give a new look and feel. So I'm a bit with you, Ben, considering they try to very often with the OSs, they try to force things on us we don't want, in terms of stripping out all functionality, or changing things around, or giving us less options. I would have thought just like giving us too much functionality in a taskbar is probably closer to I guess the contemporary style and usage. When you think about using basically a mobile operating system. So that's kind of what I would have thought. But who am I to suggest anything to Microsoft?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I've only got Windows 11 running on my Mac in a virtual environment under Parallels, and it's only, I don't use it like in a full production sense. So, I mean, I'd be more curious, like with, where I work with the laptop I've got there, if they eventually upgrade to Windows 11, although they probably won't for like 5 years or something like that, knowing how IT departments work. But it'd be interesting to maybe use it in a full production environment to see how that experience would be. I mean, obviously you'd be able to make it work because it's still Windows, but there's something about the way Windows 10 was doing things for a long time, and I have to wonder whether Microsoft's got themselves stuck in the sense of how Windows XP hung around for a long time, and then Windows 7 hung around for a long time, and people just wouldn't move. And Windows 10 might be something similar, perhaps.
Look, I think so. I think if you really look at Windows 10, to me it's got that nice Windows 7 feel. It's relatively stable. Once you get used to it, it works really well, and it's quite functional. And to be honest, I quite like the way the Office products integrate with the OS, which after 30 years they should have got right by now. And with the exception of Teams, but let's not even go there. So it's I think it's you're right. I don't think people would be rushing off to Windows 11. And, honestly, it's the little things in terms of user experience that really turn people off. And if you don't get those things right, or if you don't offer them something new that they really want, then nobody's going to be in a hurry just to get a different color or a different look.
Absolutely, and certainly not an IT department. I can tell you that.